Good night to the people of Caul's Bottom and surrounding communities. Let me first start by thanking my platform panel, Mr. Don Duncan, who has been with me from the time I started this campaign, my wife, Millie Hodge, Mr. Hayden Hughes, for his support, Mrs. Gloria Rogers for letting us have the power and for the use of her front yard. And I also want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. Tonight, people of Caul's Bottom, I'm here to bring to you a message of hope. As a nation, we are slipping. We are slipping into an environment that is unhealthy economically and unhealthy socially. Just yesterday, I was given a paper from our hospital, and this paper spells out what it's going to cost you if you have reason to be a patient at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital. If you had a maternity problem where you're there to deliver a baby and it's a normal delivery, you're gonna have to pay 1,000 EC dollars before they touch you, and that is only the deposit. If your operation requires you to have a C-section, that is going to cost you $2,600 in deposit only. If you had major surgery, you will have to make a deposit of $2,600. If you had minor surgery, you will have to make a deposit of $1,800. If you had major eye surgery, you would have to make a deposit of $500. If you had minor eye surgery, you would have to make a deposit of $400. If you are an adult and you had any other surgery, you would have to make a deposit of $2,000. And a child, if your child has a medical problem, you need to walk with $1,500 before they touch your child. This notice was posted by the Health Authority of Anguilla, and it is to the attention of all clients in Anguilla. This, to my mind, is a major problem, especially when there are so many people in this island who are not working. There's so many people in this island whose wages are so low that it is very difficult for them to be able to save up to $2,600 EC just in case they have a medical emergency. This is a fact. This afternoon, I spoke to a gentleman in Northside. He went to the hospital here for medical treatment. And when he went to the hospital, he was told that he needed to make a substantial deposit. He said to the nurse, "I am from St. Kitts. I'm going to go to St. Kitts for my medical treatment." He went to St. Kitts. He got the medical treatment, and his bill was $0. Nothing. He paid absolutely nothing for medical care in St. Kitts. He reported that to me this evening. We find ourselves in Anguilla, where we've got to ask ourselves, is the government of Anguilla looking out for the interests of the people of this country, or are they looking out for the interests of their investor friends? I am putting it to you tonight. I am putting it to you tonight that the government of Anguilla has lost a sense of conscience. They've lost any interest in the development of the people in this country. Their interest has to be aligned with the interests of the so-called investors. They have signed at least 3 memorandums in the last 3 or 4 years. One for Viceroy, one for Flags, and one for Cap Juluka. And in each of those memorandums of understanding, they have given away literally millions and millions of dollars that should be going into the treasury of this government. Millions and millions of dollars. And they have obligated this country to be essentially giving these concessions for many, many years into the future, while the people of this country is now being asked to pay more taxes. We in this country are being asked to pay more taxes. It is my understanding that the government of Anguilla will not have a budget speech this year, but rather they intend to have that budget speech next year after the election. And it is my understanding that the reason for this is that they've made certain commitments to the British government with respect to taxes, and they don't want to announce those taxes prematurely, because if they announce the taxes that they have agreed with the British government that they're going to introduce in this country, they fully well know that they will not win the general election. They will not win the general election. You see, the government of Anguilla is caught between a rock and a hard place. The British government has said to them, we will allow you to borrow $20 million. $20 million on the condition that you will bring forward some other sources of revenue. Now, you also know that one of those conditions was that 2 officials from the United Kingdom is going to come into Anguilla and will supervise and explore opportunities for increased taxation with the government of Anguilla. Now, I've worked for a British company for just about 17 years. And whenever you have supervision from the head office in London, you know that they have no confidence in your leadership. You know that they have no confidence in your judgment. You know that they see you as being irresponsible, physically irresponsible. When you are financially irresponsible, you will always get oversight of this nature. When I heard that the British government was doing this, it made me recall a few occasions when some of Cable Wireless's operations in the region had that type of oversight. I'll tell you something that I've noticed. The same kind of relationship that Cable Wireless in London has with its businesses across the region is the kind of relationship that a foreign office has with its overseas territories. If they have no respect for your management, they will always be shadowing the things that you do. You see what has happened in Turks and Caicos? The British government moved in there because they were convinced that there was a major problem with corruption. And by the way, they were also invited in there by people from Turks and Caicos. With the level of corruption that we have going on in Anguilla, if we are not careful, the British government is going to move in here in the very same way that they moved in Turks and Caicos. This is a problem. This is a real problem. But tonight, I think it's important for me to speak to the people of this constituency on the issues that's really, really affecting them. We have a situation today where over 500 people are working at the major projects in Anguilla, while our local people are without jobs. This is unacceptable. I've walked Meads Bay Beach early in the morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. And when you walk over to Viceroy and you see, I was there one morning when they were gathering for a meeting, and I could not believe my eyes. There must have been 400 or 500 people all dressed in the blue helmets and the yellow helmets on that site. And as I got closer, there were no faces in the crowd that I could recognize. None. While this is happening, many, many of our young people, especially our men, are not working. Many of the men in this island are not working. This is unacceptable.